What is not shown on social media is the years of grind and hard work that get you to that final point. They don't show any of that at all. It's the time that you spend doubting yourself, that is this really going to work or not. They don't show that either. Or the evenings that you've sacrificed working hard. It's because at the end of the day, that's the truth about success. That's what success really looks like. And in order to actually succeed properly, you need...
Welcome to the Middle-Aged and Miserable podcast.
Yes, and please subscribe so you never miss another episode. And if you like this episode, please leave us a review. This engagement really helps us reach more people with this content. Thank you.
All right, so Pat, you're middle-aged.
I am indeed middle-aged.
You're stuck. This might not be you, but you're middle-aged. You're stuck.
Yeah.
Life is mundane. You want to make a change.
Mm-hmm. That's not me. Yeah, but keep going.
Okay, you're thinking about a career change, or you're thinking about a business venture or something.
Yeah.
And you're immediately thinking about the reasons you can't do it.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So what's reason one straight out the gate?
Well, the first one, I have not, middle-aged being having our plates full, I've got no time for that. I have no time, which basically means I am not prioritizing it. Because we do have time.
We've talked about that before, and we're not going to talk about that today. But what is closely followed by I don't have time is I don't know how to do that, or I'm not smart enough to do that, or I haven't got the intellect or whatever. Yeah. So, well, what if it wasn't about the smarts or the intelligence or what you know? What if that was not the most important thing? You know, instead, there's a different attribute you need.
It's magical.
That makes all the difference. And it's not related to intelligence. What is it, Pat?
It is persistence.
That's right. It's persistence.
There's a lot in that one single word there. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why persistence is so important to success. And we're going to give some tricks and tips. And interestingly enough, we're going to talk about when it's not appropriate to persist as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, why is persistence important? It's important because, you know, when you want to make a change or achieve something in life, it's clearly not going to happen overnight, is it?
It never happens overnight, does
it? You're going to have to work towards something. It's going to have to be incrementally, and it's going to take time. Yeah. And sometimes you'll see progress. Yeah. And sometimes you will not see progress. Been there, done that.
Definitely. Well, it's kind of prolific now over social media, this instant success phenomenon that really doesn't actually exist, but that's what people portray, isn't it? And it's people are becoming millionaires overnight, quitting their jobs and retiring at 35 magically. Buying fancy cars, fancy houses, and just generally showing off their literally instant wealth that they've accumulated in no time. It's literally all over the place on social media. And what is not shown on social media is the years of grind and hard work that get you to that final point. They don't show any of that at all. It's the time that you spend doubting yourself, that is this really going to work or not. They don't show that either. Or the evenings that you've sacrificed working hard. It's because at the end of the day, that's the truth about success. That's what success really looks like. And in order to actually succeed properly, you need persistence.
That's right. Yeah. You need everybody wants the destination, but not the journey getting to the destination.
That's it.
You know, and most people start something and then they get excited for a few weeks, and then they sort of stop the moment it gets tough, or worse, the moment it's boring. Yeah. You know, they look around and think, well, this isn't working, and you know, a better way of saying this isn't working is actually this isn't working yet, isn't it?
Because that's people don't get that. Though. It's anything worth having, whether it's, I don't know, success in a business or fitness or anything, relationships. It comes after you've done all the hard work through persistence. Yeah, there's no getting away with it at all.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like episodes like this when we talk about there's something, a key attribute that's essential to success, or that isn't intelligence or being clever.
It's fortunate for us, isn't it, really?
That's probably why I like it. Because, you know, the intelligence thing can be something that stops people it can make them talk themselves out of something.
Yeah.
They can say, I'm not smart enough to do that. But it turns out to be successful or do something great or to get what you want in life. You don't necessarily need to be the smartest person or the most educated person.
Yeah. Especially here in America, there's this huge kind of this messaging that's going out that you need the best degree, you need the best education, you need to go to the best college. To have anything like resembling success, you need all that. But let's not get away from the fact not everybody's academic.
Yeah,
college is not necessarily for everyone, and I like messages like this what we're talking about now because I think it gives people hope.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody can succeed. Yeah. It's not about the education.
Yeah, it turns out that it's not all about intellect. To do something great, the real attributes you need are persistence, which is basically the ability to not give up when the going gets tough.
Absolutely.
When you don't see results. You know, in fact, while we're at it, you know, there's other things that you need, like you need persistence, but work ethic.
Oh, there's a whole list of things. Focus.
Yeah.
Drive.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Like I really think that you need a desire to ask questions and be curious. If you know it all, if you think you know it all, you're not going to ask questions and learn and pick things up, are you?
Right. Emotional intelligence. In fact, the more and more we talk about this, everything that we've talked about on this podcast, over the episodes that we've done, emotional intelligence is one of them that just comes to mind. You've got to be able to get on with people.
Yeah.
Because those people are likely the ones that are going to help you succeed and let you get what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even stuff like law of attraction, you know, be able to create uncanny coincidences and moments of good fortune that can lead you to what you want. You know, that stuff like that, you know, all of those things we just said, I think all of them are more important than intellect, really. And the irony is none of them are taught at school.
No, that's true. Let's talk about the phases that get you to this success, ultimate success. We've looked at this for a long time, and there is a pattern that exists, and it's these different phases of starting with optimism, for example.
Oh, the typical path to success in anything.
Yeah, right. So everybody starts with optimism and excitement. You're full of energy. It's actually fun. You're doing something. You're growing something. You're building something. You're excited. You feel purposeful.
Yeah.
And then after a short period of time, doubt starts to creep in, and then the next phase occurs.
You're like, it's not working. What am I doing? And then this is a lot of work I've sunk into this.
Yeah.
You start telling yourself you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
And then most people stop there, don't they?
Well, that's it. And then you're in the depths of that point, and this oh my God, it's not working. I'm wasting my time. It's going nowhere. Nothing ever works out for me. That's the despair part of it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
that's really hard at that point.
I think that there's an element of you get embarrassed at that stage. Like I've had that. Because you get excited, you're telling everybody about what you're up to and your side business or whatever it is you're doing, whether you're weight loss or whatever. And then people are interested. So they come back to you later on and say, how's it going with the side business or whatever? And you're like, yeah, it's going good. And it's almost embarrassing. You're like, oh my God, I've sunk so many hours and days and weekends into this. And I'm stuck, and and
the reality is, it's not going good.
No,
but you just tell it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's tough.
I know what you mean. It is hard actually, but then having persistence that in those periods, in those phases, that's why it's really important because you've got to just keep going.
Yeah, because ultimately, if you do keep going, there will be a breakthrough, and then you're like, holy crap, this might actually work, and then suddenly you're all energized again. But it's like you've got to get through that.
And that's that last wonderful phase that I saw this on a chart, and there's probably loads of charts that depict this anyway, but I'm going to try and describe this chart verbally because it's a podcast, right? And it's basically, so time is on the horizontal axis and success is on the vertical axis, and you start at the beginning and then you're just going slowly, and nothing's happening. Your graph isn't growing at all. It might be creeping up a little bit or dropping down, but it's really not doing anything. And then you get all the way to the very, very end of it, and then it just shoots up right at the end. And that's your breakthrough moment that you're talking about, and it just happens right at the very end there. And it's like a hockey stick, isn't it?
It's like the opposite of our YouTube videos. Where everyone's listening and then they're not.
But these are the typical stages towards any goal, towards success ultimately. It's important to know that because it happens to everyone. There's nothing unusual about it. This is the normal path.
Yeah, but you think
success.
it's just you. But you're not, are you? You're not a special person. Everyone goes through it.
Yeah. And I guess the secret is you just don't panic. Don't quit. Just push through with persistence. And you'll get there.
Yeah, and this whole, like when you're at the bottom and this is not working stage, it's a tough one because we talk a lot about the law of attraction and everything being energy, and what you attract is related to the energy frequency of vibration that you put out, and that's why it's difficult in that moment because essentially you're living in lack. In this case, a lack of results or a lack of success or whatever it is. So it's really important to realize that that's the energy you're kicking out. You're living in lack,
and you could fall into a spiral.
Yeah, and you could attract more lack.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep your spirits up during that time. Maybe you practice gratitude to see, what you do have to lift your spirits, or maybe you concentrate on your vision and your goals and pick up on those small wins. Give yourself a boost and maintain that positive energy so that you can raise your frequency and attract what you want.
Yeah.
And
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the hard part. It's normal, and you just got to break through it, right?
Yeah, and it takes those little moments that, like you said, your gratitude list and things like that. Those little moments to pull you out of that spiral of negativity that you are inevitably in, because we've been in that.
Yeah,
and you need that. And there's another thing that I want to touch on as well. Kind of switch gears a little bit here. When we talk about persistence here, it's not just go in a straight line and grinding through it until you die, basically, through burnout.
Yeah.
You can take a break. And I want to just make that point that sometimes it's actually important to take a break.
Yeah, it should encourage it, really.
It helps you to reset and re-energize, and then you can just push forward again. And I actually like to, speaking of breaks, I feel so much more energized after I come back off holiday, for instance, or a weekend away or something like that.
Yeah,
just
or even a day off. I've done that before. I've been like, I need to get stuff done, but sometimes it's just important to take a day off, isn't it? And just reset.
So when we say persistence, it's not like just keep going regardless, even when you're really tired, because obviously you can't. Yeah, you do need a rest.
Yeah. There's another tip as well. Like when things do get hard, which they will, just focus on your why. Why am I doing this? What will it get me? And who am I doing it for? Because usually there's someone behind it, your kids or your partner or even your future self. If that can be something that keeps you going when the motivation fades.
I have to do that a lot. For me, it's my family. And that's because we went through those NLP exercises and why you're ultimately doing this. And I think that's what gets me out of bed in the morning is I'm not just doing this for me and not just doing this for an ego trip. I'm doing this so I can make my family and my life and my family's life better.
Yeah. And when you think about it, you're sort of providing them with an example too. You're showing them to persist and purposely work towards something to benefit yourself and others. When you think about that, that's a good message in itself that you're leading by example and showing them that.
Yeah, and if your kids will see that as well. That's true.
Yeah. So it's worth remembering when things get tough, like why you're doing it. Yeah. So is another thing about persistence. Like it's not always the case that you absolutely have to keep going no matter what, right? You mentioned this at the start, Pat, didn't you? You do actually have to listen to feedback and results that you get, right?
Yeah, I want to touch on that moment where I said at the beginning that this is the time when you don't persist, and there's a little nuance to that. It's you've got to listen to the feedback. Basically, you can't just keep going in a straight line. blindly, no matter what. That you're going to get feedback, and there are times when you shouldn't persist. Is when the evidence that you're getting back is telling you this isn't working, this is not right. But it doesn't mean stop. You've got to measure your results. You've got to analyze them and track what's working, track what's not working. But what you're doing is that you shift gears at that point.
Yeah,
you tweak it.
Yeah, it's fine to pivot, right? I mean, you can't just run yourself into the ground if it's clearly not working.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're saying keep going, but if there's, results and evidence that it's not working, then you can pivot. We pivoted, right? We pivoted with, we were flipping houses. We were doing okay, but it was a lot of work, wasn't it? Right. We were doing okay doing it, but it was a lot of work. So we pivoted to multifamily apartments, where we were buying these huge apartments with others, and we were sort of running them as well. And it was less work than house flipping, but we were making more money, weren't we?
Right. Yeah.
And then we pivoted again and said, hold on a minute, this is still too much work. Let's become more passive in this. Still in multifamily apartments, but we pivoted again and became more passive to, because we did the feedback and the analysis, and we figured out that it was not worth our while as much to work so hard on it, and we could do other stuff. So we didn't stop. We just kind of pivoted.
Yeah, we took the feedback that we were getting, and it took a moment to let's just stop and think about where we're going, because you get stuck in the grind, don't you? Just keep going, and you've got to take those moments to, okay, is this working? Is this what we want? How much work is this? And then you just shift gears a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It's not about going in a straight line necessarily, but you just keep going.
Yeah. I got one more thing on persistence, Pat.
Go on then.
There's no hack, is there?
Oh, it's no shortcut.
Well, I think everybody wants to know that there's this formula, and then this hack.
No, there's no hack.
There isn't one. It's like you just got to persist, haven't you? And no one really talks about that, do you?
Yeah, there's no button and success. And if I just click that button there, it happens. It doesn't. It doesn't work like that. There is no hack. You simply just have to. The hack is basically you just have to refuse to give up.
Yeah.
And even when you feel like it's not going to happen, you just got to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. But the good news is you don't have to be the most talented, the most connected person. You just need to decide not to stop. And I got a quote. You want to hear a quote from Steve Jobs?
You like your quotes?
I do like quotes. This is Steve Jobs. I'm convinced that half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from non-successful ones is pure perseverance.
So even Steve Jobs said it.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's talking about entrepreneurs there, but the same thing could be true for any venture that we take on in life.
Yeah, it applies to everything. So let's summarize, eh?
All right, let's summarize the episode.
So we talked about how real change and success takes time, consistent effort. It is not overnight, despite what you see on social media. And unfortunately, it's still the case today, most people do give up too soon. But you just have to keep grinding through, and success does actually come after having pushed through the hard part.
Yeah. We think persistence matters more than intellect or education, especially when it comes to succeeding in something. And doubt, struggle, that's all normal stages before a breakthrough. So you just got to stick with it.
We talked about how to take a break occasionally, take short breaks to recharge, and it'll keep you going. And reconnect with your why when it eventually does get hard, because it will.
Which it will.
I know.
Yeah, and then it's good to pivot. If you get feedback that tells you to shift your strategy, you need to pivot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's no hack. Remember that? Success happens to those who are persistent.
Yep.
All right, Pat, it's the after show.
It is indeed.
Everyone's gone as usual. It's just us. We can talk. We can say what we want.
Yeah.
I just went to the UK.
You did?
I just got back. I just
what did you observe in the UK?
Yeah, well, I mean, mate, 'cause usually we talk about what UK people would think is strange in America if they came here. But I think I can say some things that I noticed about the UK that Americans would find weird over there.
Yeah, but you went on a bit of a rant when you came back.
I did go on a rant. Do you want me to do that now?
Yeah, go on a bit of a rant.
I mean, one thing that's weird that any American going to Britain is going to find weird is you can't pass cars on the street. Like
in the neighbourhoods of the cities and towns, you mean?
Yeah. So what am I trying to say? The road has parked cars on it.
Along the side of the road.
Yeah. So imagine if you had a road with no parked cars, you would just be driving.
Yeah.
One car would go one way, one car would go the other way.
Right.
But imagine if you parked a bunch of cars on the street in the lane.
Not in the parking designated parking area.
There is no designated parking area.
Right, okay.
So cars get parked on the street.
Where you're driving.
Yeah. So you're driving along a lane. There's a car parked in your lane. So you have to go around that car on the wrong side of the road.
You're crossing the median.
Yeah.
Which is a painted line in the UK.
Yeah.
We can talk about road furniture a bit later.
Yeah.
Right?
So you have to. So you're driving along. Mm-hmm. I'm not just talking about one car parked in your lane. I'm talking about a line of cars. So you have to drive on the opposite side of the road to the oncoming traffic.
Right.
To get around it. But then obviously there's cars there, so you can't always go. You've got to wait for all the cars to go past. Then you pull out, then you go around, and then, oh no, there's someone there. And then they stop, and then you have to cut in because there's a gap between the cars.
So it takes a year to get like 50 yards.
It's different. It's very different from America.
That's not what you said when you told me when you got back. It's different. It's a very polite way of putting it.
It's just strange when you're used to, because America is a new country.
Yeah.
So the roads have been purposely built.
Here, yeah.
They're all wide, and there's designated parking areas. And I don't know how they're going to fix that in England.
They have turn lanes here as well, which is an awesome thing. If you want to turn, think of it opposite to the UK. You're driving along and you want to turn left. You want to cross the other side of the road.
Yeah.
There's a lane for you.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Well, the roads just aren't wide enough in Britain. So the first problem I just talked about is because the road isn't wide enough. But you can't widen the road because the houses are there.
Yeah.
It's just it was built at a different time.
Yeah. We all had horses and carts, didn't we, when we were growing up? We're that old.
Not me. But so it's just I don't know how you ever solve this, because here's another problem. Cars are bigger. So you get
cars in the UK are bigger.
In general, cars are bigger, aren't they? So you've got like crossover type cars in England. You've got SUVs in England. Not quite as many huge SUVs as you get here, but there's crossover cars. There's wide cars, and they're bigger. And so you're trying to squeeze down these roads in these bigger cars. Sometimes you'll go down and there'll be a railway bridge, and they're really tight, and you've got to wait for the other cars. And people are staying at home more as well. Like a lot of kids don't move out now. They stay at home. They've all got a car. So you've got all these cars everywhere, and there's nowhere to park. So they're all on the street.
So you noticed that more this time?
Yeah, just because it's been a while since I've lived there. It didn't used to be like that, and now I don't know. It's just hard. It's harder. That if I could summarize it, driving is harder in the UK because you can't just drive down the street. You've got to wait. You've got a car coming the other way. You've got to calculate. You've got to go around. You've got to look at your gaps. It's just harder.
You said something just now that got me thinking about something completely different. You said you went through like these railway bridge type tunnels, which are narrow tunnels, just wide enough for cars to go through. You know how wide they are? What governs the width of them?
Probably the horse and a cart.
The width of two horses' arses. It's true. I can't remember who told me this. This is true. So back in the olden days, way before I was born and cars didn't exist, everybody was driving around in these horse-drawn carts, right? And I forget the exact circumstances, but it was decided that we need to make these tunnels and bridges wide enough to pull these carts through. And the carts are just as wide as two horses pulling them next to each other. So basically the tunnels are as wide as two horses are.
I believe it, because you try and drive an SUV through there, you're struggling.
I know.
And you see these box vans going through. There's YouTube videos of vans getting stuck under these things all the time. Here's another thing. No one has an automatic car in Britain.
Oh, yeah.
No one's into that.
Even still?
I don't think so. Well, like my dad has one, but he's older. But in general, I rented a car. You got to pay more for an automatic. The default is manual.
God.
Everyone drives manual. And do you remember when we grew up there, we all learned with manual. People in general, they think automatic cars, that's kind of cheating. That's not real driving.
Right.
You got to be... So good luck.
There's a snobbery, isn't there, in that I want to drive a manual because it's real driving.
Yeah. But I had to pay extra for an automatic, and there aren't that many of them.
So you had to drive an automatic when was the last time you drove a manual?
I don't know. I mean, I've only just got used to driving that. So I'm so used to being here, and I lived in Europe, so I'm so used to driving on the opposite side of the road to England. It's weird for me, but I get used to it when I'm back there. But I think having the automatic just makes that transition a little easier.
I think I would struggle now. Not with the man. Yeah, I'd end up kangarooing my way up the road because I'm just not used to it. I have an automatic.
There's a lot to think about already, especially when you get out of a parking lot and then you sort of for a moment forget where you are and you literally drive along the wrong side of the street. I've done it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's just that there's a moment there when you forget, where you just doubt yourself. Yeah. And I did get one rental once and I had a big sticker and it said drive on the left. And it really helped me because I would whenever I'd have that brain freeze, I would just look down and say, oh yeah, left. It would help me.
Good job.
Yeah.
If you like what you just heard, please subscribe and like so you never miss another episode. And if you want more of this content, check out our social media for more ways to avoid being middle-aged and miserable.